watched the first episode of Star Trek Starfleet Academy, and boy, do I regret it. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, you better. Yeah, you better.
Guys, before we get into today's video, please like and subscribe. Today we're going to be talking about Star Trek Starfleet Academy. This is a new rendition or iteration of Star Trek that has come out just recently, and it's being released by Paramount Plus. Now, they put the first episode online on YouTube for free for people to watch, and boy, was the reception of this not good. We're going to head over to this Nerdrotic tweet where he writes, Paramount spent between 6 to 10 million an episode on Star Trek Starfleet Academy. They put the premiere on YouTube for free and got 1,300 live viewers. RIP Star Trek. And then we started getting clips out of this new show, particularly out of the second episode, where people online were claiming they have a literal DEI training on the show in Star Trek. Let's watch.
Name of this cadet. Being a cadet in Starfleet Academy means being open to the people around you. And that connection is where time and space really live.
I don't need connection.
Yeah. You're a genius who owns all the suffering. I only know two things, kid. Number one, old age and treachery always triumph over youth and a smart mouth. Oscar Wilde. Love that dude. Fun fact, when he died, they had to put glass over his tombstone because people kept trying to make out with it. Number two, a smart mouth isn't worth a damn.
Alrighty, there you have it. I'm already getting notes of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and you can tell that in just looking at this perfectly diverse cast, but also in listening to the words of the actress Tig Notaro, who is a famous woke lesbian comedian, as she's talking about inclusivity and getting to know every single person in Starfleet Academy as a way of including all and building connection. And Tig Notaro is not the only female leader on this show. This show is full, rife with girl bosses. Let's look at another clip.
The Badlands, Captain. Subspace instability may be creeping in, and we're the first to chart it.
These would make an excellent practical study module for the Spatial Harmonics Lab, Captain.
All right. Well, let's not turtle the ship on our first run.
And then we gotta look at some of the promotional shots and promotional materials from this show. Take a look at these two photos here. I saw somebody on X say, this looks more like an advertisement for HIV testing that you see on a New York City subway. So there's that. And if you're looking at all of these materials and bits of media and thinking you know exactly how this show is going to pan out and what it's going to be about, you'd be absolutely correct. If you've seen She-Hulk, Star Wars, The Acolyte, you pretty much have got this show down. As I said before, you can head over and watch that on YouTube if you want. It only has 160,000 views in 4 days. And again, this is coming from Paramount. And the top comment right now, at least as far as I'm seeing, is to boldly leave the comment section open. So that should give you a vibe here. And if we look at the likes and dislikes on this show right now, we have 27,000 dislikes to 6.7K likes. Yikes. Now, of course, as I said before, this show is full of woke. It's full of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I'm going to show you a couple of clips here. And to do that, I have to explain a little bit of the plot. So at the beginning of episode 1, you see a young boy and his mother separated from each other. Now, because women are either leaders or victims in this show, it wasn't really this woman's fault that she was an accomplice to murder. She got tricked by an evil white man named Noose Braca, who got her convinced that this was a way to get food for her and her son. Coincidentally, this mother character is played by Tatiana Maslany, so she goes from girl boss in She-Hulk to victim of the patriarchy in this show. So while the evil villain white man, Noose Braca, played by Paul Giamatti, and oh my gosh, what a waste of Paul Giamatti, is sent to prison, Tatiana Maslany's victimized mother character is sent to a rehabilitation center because it really wasn't her fault. Now, of course, this means she is separated from her racially ambiguous son, and she is separated by our lead female heroine played by Holly Hunter, which again is a massive misuse of the talent of Holly Hunter in this show. Holly Hunter, while a heroine, is also a female who's just a victim of the system. She had to separate this mother who was an accomplice to murder and this child because the system forced her hand. She wouldn't have done it if she really had a choice. She's torn up about it. She's thinking about all the things she could have done to not separate this mother and child. And this is a quote we get in the show.
It wouldn't have changed anything. We were in Tria. Starfleet wasn't making any exceptions.
Separating children from their parents isn't exceptional. is reprehensible.
Separating children from their parents isn't exceptional, it's reprehensible. Where have I heard that before? Complaining about the separation of children and their parents? Oh, that's right, the political left.
Who built the cages, Joe?
Let's talk about what
Who built the cages,
Let's
Joe?
talk about what we're talking about.
Of course, I cannot help but see this as a parallel to the illegal immigration conversations we're having in this country. Person comes and commits crime with child alongside them. Person is separated from child, if even just to figure out if the child is theirs. And that's a no. It's not exceptional. It's reprehensible, even when your mother is an accomplice to murder. Okay. Now, with a little bit of retrospect, people in leadership are feeling really bad about separating this mother and child, and we get this quote.
I was dead wrong, Mom. Now, these kids are inheriting a broken world they did not create but have to clean up. There's no one more suited to help them. You're part Lantana.
Now, that quote becomes really important. It's an ever-present theme in this entire show, apparently, that kids are taking on the burden of their ancestors, that their ancestors committed all these atrocities that left them in a burned up, torn up world. And now kids, with their empathy and inclusivity, have to patch up that broken world. It's why we get clips like these from one of the showrunners on this Star Trek show, Alex Kurtzman.
I think that every Trek show, no matter which one it is, it's always a mirror to the moment in which it's made. And right now you have a generation of kids who are facing an extremely divided world in a very, very uncertain future. And, you know, as the father of one of those kids, I see my son facing that reality, but I also see him facing it with a kind of youthful optimism and exuberance that really comes from being young and the promise of what's possible. And so undeterred, he will continue to look for what is best. And to me, that represents Roddenberry's vision. And it feels like if we're going to tell a story about young people, well, we could have said it in the 24th century in the halcyon days of the Federation, but it would have been a lovely fantasy, but it wouldn't have been, I think, the mirror that Star Trek is. By putting it in the 32nd century post-Burn, you're telling the story about a bunch of kids who are inheriting a lot of challenges that their ancestors, laid down, and now it's their job to fix it and clean it up and get as close as possible to Roddenberry's vision.
I find it interesting that he starts off by saying every single Star Trek piece is a mirror for its time. And I don't know if that's necessarily true. Of course, you can watch a certain iteration of Star Trek and recognize which time it's from little things that slip through or certain things that are happening in the background that are only present and in the time in which that media was created. But now he's going forward in the creation of Star Trek Starfleet Academy to literally stamp this entire show with 2026 and the political issues of this time and the diversity, equity, and inclusion conversations of this particular time. Earlier Star Trek projects, it seems, were more concerned with broader questions, universal themes, transcendent messages, things that could become classic, timeless. There's nothing classic or timeless about anything created in this new show. This show screams 2025, 2026, and the issues and political topics of that time. And you want to know why I know that this show screams those things? It's not only because the show is literally spoon-feeding you that reality, it's also because the actors and the showrunners can't help but talk about it. Here's Tig Notaro, who we saw earlier in her DEI Starfleet training.
Typical Star Trek world of the inclusivity and the it knows no bounds, and that's that's always progressive. It's always moving forward, and I can't think of an element of the entire show or series that isn't that way.
We'll tackle the question as to whether or not Star Trek was always inclusive or what it even means to be inclusive in today's time versus back then. But let's get into the aspect of self-insert that is so clearly present in so much of this show's creation. What you have is a bunch of left-leaning people infiltrating the showrunner space, the executive producer space of this show, and inserting themselves into the Star Trek world. It's exactly what we got with She-Hulk. It's exactly what we got with Star Wars: The Acolyte. You can point to other products for other markets like the new Snow White movie or the new Lilo and Stitch, where you're just consistently getting self-insert leftist politics, girl bossery everywhere you look. We all feel it, we all see it, we all know it's coming at this point. Here's another clip of an actress in this show who gets to play another girl boss at Starfleet Academy who talks about the inclusivity of her character.
Through my character, I really feel so grateful for her because that's a way in which I feel that I belong to the Star Trek universe, which is part of like why it's such an amazing thing, is that it offers that. And I think Paul was talking about before, the open door, like this inclusivity, and like that everyone is welcome and there's hope on offer for every kind of person or being in the universe itself.
If that's not enough, here's another clip out of the press junket for this new series.
I think that we are redefining what it means to be a warrior. You know what I mean? Like, a warrior doesn't always mean picking up, a weapon and going into battle. There's like a lot of other battlefields. And so I think that's what we're doing in Starfleet Academy with Klingons.
Are we not over this at this point? Are we not over leftists picking up these beloved pieces of IP, these beloved franchises, which at their core are incongruent with leftist ideology, and then they're putting them on as a skin suit so that they can shove their agenda in and sell it to you as Star Trek or Star Wars or as a Disney classic? They are making all these stories into shells of what they once were and then blaming you and calling you a bigot, a racist, a misogynist for not liking it and not wanting to consume it. And when I say a shell of what they once were, I truly mean it. I'm going to show you some old clips from Star Trek so you can feel the difference in what you've seen today and what it once was.
Welcomed Ensign Mendon on board. Certainly seems eager to please.
Well, that's a Benzite trait.
What if Riker had said, "I noticed Geordi is pretty good at basketball," and Picard was like, "Well, that's an African trait."
Now, she's interesting. I don't think she's the right pronoun. But if you think it's worth the risk...
I don't know, maybe I should have brought my scanner with me.
Did you know the Nigeans govern a sector of space occupied by several different humanoid species?
If we say yes, will you feed us?
One of those species is the Benkarans. They occupy just 10% of Nigean space, but take up nearly 80% of the space in Nigean prisons.
Maybe they commit more crimes.
Like, Star Trek once gave you the 1350, the 1350 stat, and you think that Star Trek Starfleet is actually something that's paying homage to it? Guys, how long does this continue? This whole mirroring the time thing? We've been asking this for years at this point. I can't even tell you how many videos we've made tackling this subject matter, where we're looking at a story like Snow White or Lilo and Stitch or Rings of Power or Star Wars or Star Trek, and we can literally take all of these different names and these different storylines that were once unique and had their own essence, and we can shove the same story into each of them and repackage them to you with the given name for the franchise that you love so that you can eat the slop. When he says this is a mirror for our time, he couldn't be more truthful in that statement. And I think we're done with the mirror, because right now our time is full of peak girl bossification of characters and a lack of true femininity. It's diversity, equity, inclusion to the detriment of storyline and storytelling where everything's included so nothing works. It is just baseless political arguments and slogans thrown into places where they don't fit just for the sake of telling you how to feel. That is today's time. And if this show is going to be a mirror, then we need to stop looking in it. It's crazy we can go into these viewing experiences almost beat for beat, knowing exactly what we're going to get, and each time we're pretty much right. Yikes. I'm over it. I'm sure you are too. So I will not be watching another episode of Star Trek Starfleet Academy, because I think that's exactly what this show deserves. And with that, those are my thoughts on this new Star Trek show that's come out. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. I'm sure you will have plenty of them. If you disagree with anything I said in this video, do get out, but do so respectfully. I encourage healthy debate on this channel. And if you like this video, like, subscribe, click the notification bell, be notified every single time I post a video for you guys, which is every day. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye, guys.
Yeah, you better. Yeah, you better.